Today is Sunday, February 11th. It's 1:05 p.m. I'm going to be going through the software in its current state, which is version 6.4.2. So yeah, it may be a lengthy video, but I figure it's best to make my notations in this recording and go through everything from beginning to end. So it might be a little lengthy. Here we go. So I know this is a development build, which is noted here. I'm not sure what this error is about in the lower left. This is development console, something to do with audio plugin. So I'm going to just go ahead and close that for now. Now I will not be signing on with the Quest 2 headset at this time. I think we know the process, and some previous tests yesterday, I haven't noted any issues with the APK file, other than the version number, which I made note in the Trello ongoing for Sprint 2, is that we need to remember to change the version number in the instructor application screen and also on the APK version number that the student or participant will see in the headset. Make it easier for us to keep track of what versions we've got going on for testing, demos, etc., deployment. Here we go. All right, so taking it from the top, I'm just going to point out things that I think we need to address or fix, or an area of concern. I'm not going to shower everyone with compliments, but just in general, everything's looking good. So we'll just start with Fire Hazmat VR. That's the default. At some point, I'll need to work with our fire training officers, content experts, to make sure that we've got these organized as we want them to be for the spring release to any of our customers, module naming, etc. I believe all of these are working. I'm going to assume so. The day and night, we know that we've got some issues with that with regard to the daytime version of things, as far as brightening up the structures themselves with lighting a little bit more than they are in their current state. Trying to think anything here. So yeah, version number that needs to be updated. I'm actually demoing or testing our 6.4.2 right now, so we need to update that. One of the things I think we may want to look to do is, just as you guys enlarge the walkie-talkie icons in the insets here, I think we may need to bring this up in size a little bit. I did also notice that in the insets, the letters or numbers for the channels are a little too large. The D is actually almost touching the edges of that little blue screen on here. But I would just say if we could size this up and maybe make the letters and numbers maybe bold, so they're a little bit easier to read, that might be helpful. So something that we need to look at. So other than that, I think we are good with this. Let's just see here. I think we had made mention on our call that going forward, certainly on all of the fire hazmat scenarios, we want to have this checked off. Fire alarm should be checked off by default. Lighting controls, just looking at all this, I think we need to look at the scene objects, the doors. I think for the state of the front door, I don't think that that's working properly. I think one of these was off. So if we had it as locked or for locked. I think it was open. I don't know that there was a locked state or forced. It was locked. One of these was off, so we have to go back and check on that. Breaker panel, I'm assuming that's all working properly. We should go through that. Odor marker. I don't know if we could change the name of the odor without using the tunable system, or if that's a custom graphic, but something we'll have to look into in the future. One of the things that I was thinking about, we should put it in the backlog. It may make sense. Obviously, this panel, whether it be scenario panel or scene panel or tools or tasks, if these options get to be fairly lengthy, it's a little bit of a challenge to just keep scrolling and clicking everything. We may want to group these light controls by floor, and for the Cape House anyway, first floor, second floor, that might make sense. So that, I don't know if they could be collapsible. So you might have anything on the exterior would be a list, maybe that's even in a collapsible as well. Exterior lighting, and then you click on that, opens it up, and then have first floor collapsible, second floor collapsible. This list isn't too extensive, so it might not be a big issue for most, but it's just something that I'm noting here. Let's look at tools. I had no issues with any of that. Certainly with our inventory belt system that we're working on, and that's going to impact some of this, I would think. We'll go to tasks. Everything seems to be good here. I'm going to move on from Fire Hazmat VR onto Fire Rescue VR, and we'll go through those tabs as well. So let's go here. So course, we have firefighting, module 1, structural firefighting, essential alarm. For these two, I think we need to have the default for the fire alarm be on. I'm not sure. We should talk about that, right? Maybe the fire alarm is default is off for all. Or we leave it default on for all, and then people will have to just go and click it off. I'll have to talk to the fire training officers. I just want to make sure by default it's what you would expect. I know it's kind of annoying and inconvenient to have that fire alarm be on by default, and it's pretty loud and annoying, but that adds to the level of realism in the simulation. So and one of the things that we want to be double checking too is the objective, right, for each of these. So let's just go back to Fire Hazmat real quick. I just want to say objective, locate gas leak, right? Here, objective, locate source of odor, right? So you want to keep that in mind as we're going through enhancing things, changing scenarios, that we're sure to check the objective. Make sure that the objective is lining up with the scenario that we're setting up. So I believe I checked all of these lights to make sure that they're functioning. The only thing I think that may be off is in the living room. I think we want to check the ceiling light in the living room, because I think even clicking these off, I think the ceiling light in the living room may be on the first floor. So we want to just double check, make sure of that. I did notice also in the master bedroom, in the area where we have like the bedside lamps, and even in the living room, the window lamp, sometimes it throws light upward, but then sometimes it changes and it throws light downward as you're walking up to it. So I'm not sure why that is. Maybe it's just a real-time rendering thing. It looks a little weird, so that's something that we probably want to look into. Back to the lighting. So I would think that a lamp that has an open top and an open bottom, that a lampshade would throw light in both directions, upward and downward. Something that we need to look at and discuss how we want to handle that. But there was some flickering going on as you approach the light source. So we'll want to check that. So I'm going to go back to fire rescue. Here, again, daytime, nighttime, there was an issue with daytime. I think we need to brighten up the neighborhood, brighten up the structure on the exterior just a little bit so it feels a little bit more believable. I don't know if it's possible to put a sun, an image of a sun in the sky, or an image of a moon in the sky for the skybox to make it feel a little bit more believable as to where the light source is coming from. But we could talk about that at a later date. So again, fire alarm may be set to be on by default, but we have to make sure it's on for everything. Whereas in fire hazmat, it should be off by default. Just look on these, see what changes. Extinguish fire. You'll notice the first one is respond to alarm because there is no fire, right? And health smoke is not activated, so you can't even start a fire if you wanted to. Central station alarm here. Health smoke is activated. Extinguish fire. So let's just check the objectives here. All right. You can see it's loading. Previous save on this install that I saved. So all of these are extinguish fire. Right. Kitchen electrical. Communicate results to instructor. You know, I think you have to go in and actually just click on the circuit breaker box that's in the kitchen currently. And so that's it. We'll return to that scene. Let's just check that. Again, you know, we want to make sure that the front door is functioning properly. And I'm sure that's going to be factored in when we're working on forcible entry. You know, we'll make sure that's functioning properly. Light controls, again, you know, for this instance, it may not be a big deal. But if the list gets to be much longer than this, I think we may want to have collapsible options here. So it's like exterior lighting, and first floor interior lighting, second floor interior lighting, that type of thing. Just to make it easier for folks to sort through that stuff. The benchmarks seem to be fine. Adding default benchmarks, I had no issues with any of that. What we may want to do for scenarios going forward is that if obviously in the future we want to work on TIC camera functionality, so thermal imaging camera, which if you operate that, you'll hold it in front of you, it'll show you kind of like a forward-looking infrared, you know, FLIR look to pick out, so you can kind of note where the heat sources are, whether it be the actual fire and or human bodies, what have you. So I know that coming up we were working on forcible entry, so that's where the halogen bar is going to come in, the axe is going to come in, but it may be that, you know, going forward we may want to have these tools not be showing up, you know, in the inventory panel if it's non-functioning. It's okay if there's a placeholder, but what I think is happening is people are picking those devices up thinking they can utilize them, and at this stage of development they are non-functioning. So I don't think it's helping us to have those show up in the in the inventory panel. So just want to make a note of that. Tools, tasks. All right, so that's fire rescue. Now back to the newest one here, incident command VR. One thing we want to check in the theater briefing room is that the logos are reflecting properly for each of these programs in the theater. So I know we fixed the first one, but for incident command, I think Fire Hazmat VR logo may be showing up, and we'll check it out here. So, of course, I don't know if incident command is the appropriate terminology, but we'll have to check with the fire training officers, the content experts, as to how they want that named and how we should be breaking out the modules. Strip mall, 7-story. That's really a structure type. So that's like falls under construction. So we may have to sort this out, with those folks. So see how they want that broken out. So let's start with the strip mall here. I'm going to just go nighttime looked good. Daytime, I think we had some lighting issues that we want to address. We'll put it today, so we can see what we've got here. Scene. For any of these, I know we're noting Alpha, Charlie, and then I don't know. I guess we haven't included Bravo or Delta side yet. Looks like we just have the Alpha side and the Charlie side, and then the vent on the roof. We may have to change that we may have to put roof, air vent, what have you, if that's where it's actually located. So we'll go through that with the fire officers and just get clarification on that. Tools, there are no tools. Tasks, we could add benchmark, right? If there's a additional benchmark that needs to be drawn up as a default for incident command, I'll have to review that with our experts again and see what makes the most sense. So that's where we're at with that. One of the other things I'm noting, just like the lighting, for scene objects, we may end up having these grouped with a turn down, so any of the alpha point of origin of smoke or fire or whatever in the future, we may want to just have these grouped by side. So Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and you just turn it down and it would reveal all these drop down menus, and then you can kind of go from there, if that makes more sense. So I'll just leave this daytime, and we'll go ahead and configure just to see what we've got. So I'm going to actually do free cam here so we can see, because I believe Fire Hazmat shows up. Yeah. See this Fire Hazmat logo? That should be Incident Command logo. So we got to change those logos in the environment. Actually, I'm going to go back here and keep students. I'm going to do free cam to see if we've changed the logo on the wall. Yep. Okay. So just as the logo was changed here, and on the instructor application, we also needed to change on the screen on the theater or briefing room for each program. I'll go back here. So I'm going to hit daytime, strip mall. I'll leave this inactive for now. I mean, I guess I could just turn on one. I'll just make this CO2, right? We'll put a suite vent. One of the other ones on the roof. We'll make that black or whatever, right? We'll add the benchmarks just to double check. I think in Incident Command, the screen at the end was blank when you come out of the simulation in the debriefing room or the theater at the end. We didn't have any simulation results showing up in the screen, so that's something that needs to be addressed. So we're going to go ahead and move forward. There's that. Again, we want to fix the logo, make sure it's Incident Command on the screen. We'll start the scenario. Okay. Now I noticed this. You'll see, for some reason, and I don't know if it just is recalling what it had done in the previous sim that was run, but it like the smoke kind of shows up and then it kind of dissipates. I'll do free cam here. This seems to be accurate, right? So it's a suite 101 is this one here. Again, the location of where that smoke is coming from, I don't know if it needs to be higher up in the window or the door, if it just should be coming up the top half. Right here it seems to be coming from the lower half, and that may just be a little detail that needs to be fixed. Overall, I mean, especially considering such a bright sky, we really need to brighten up the lighting on this structure. It's just too dark. I mentioned that the other day when the team was on the call with me in the 7-story building as well. So, but yep. So that's that. Tasks. We've got our defaults here, but there may be some simulation specific elements that need to be added to this, tasks or objectives. So I'm going to go ahead and reset the sim. I'll keep the students just for now. Let's go to, let's just go to night on the strip mall. I want to just check that out. Again, module name, scenario name, and structure type. Construction, this should be here. It should say, whatever it is, type 3 ordinary or whatever is appropriate for taxpayer or strip mall. We talked about this, right? Grouping these potentially. So I'm just going to be checking the night scene of the strip mall now. So we're going to go ahead, figure, start scenario, recam. This looks okay, because it is nighttime. Again, there is a visible light source, right? So that's where, do we put a moon up in here somewhere? I don't know. Maybe that's something that I just go in and Photoshop, like a partial moon, crescent, or a full moon. This feels like a full moon kind of a lighting scenario here, but we no need to brighten this up. This is perfect for nighttime. All right. Let's reset the sim. Keep the students. All right. Let's go to the next structure type. I'm getting confused where to even go here. 7-story high rise. Right. Scenario. We'll do day first. See, this is objective. It says none. We need to figure out what that should read. Because I'm assuming if we're doing 360s and communicating and all that there is an objective. I just don't know what that is. Right. So I'll throw some smoke here just for the heck of it. So floor 2, CO2. I'll set up like a couple. Oh, here we have Bravo. Okay. And the high rise. So that's good. I may have overlooked that the other day. But this may all be under daytime. And maybe it's not visible on nighttime. Maybe that's why. We have Delta. Do we have Charlie? Yep. So let's just see there. I'll just leave that for now. I already placed victims in these, so I know that shows up. Tools, we have no tools. Tasks, we just have benchmarks. Again, we want to check the objective. That should be, something should be written in there. So we want to make sure that gets taken care of. Instant command, I'm just going to go ahead and check the logo and make sure that it's appropriate. Yep, that's set. Daytime, high rise. I set some smoke locations. Let's see what we got. Confirm here. Let's just check the logo on the screen. While we're at it. Yeah, that needs to be changed. That should read Incident Command VR. Alright, we'll start the scenario. Okay. As I mentioned in our call the other day, I think we need to really brighten up this building, this structure, given it's a bright daytime skybox, right? We probably should brighten the structure up. It's just a little too dark. Doesn't feel believable to me. So, the other thing is I would recommend checking the colliders. I think I got hung up in one of these stepping off, we'll call the sidewalk area, onto the blacktop. I think I did get hung up and I got stuck. So just check all those colliders. Make sure that we're everything is tightened up so that we don't have student users getting frustrated. Right. So looks like we have 3 points of origin of smoke. Again, we want to get, I think we should make it so that you can select some vents on the roof top to have smoke coming out of there. Even though being down at the street level, it's going to be hard for them to pinpoint where that smoke is really coming from, if it's coming from the roof, but that's reality, I would think. So we want to factor that in, you know. So yeah, let's brighten the lighting for this structure for the daytime. We're going to go back here. I'm just going to go back. I'll reset the sim. It defaults to night. You know, once we get the structures lit up properly on the exterior, that's something I may want to ask the fire training officers, the content experts, what would they prefer the default be, daytime or nighttime? So we could let them decide. So right now it's night. Again, there's no objective set. I'll set, I don't know, I'll pick a couple random. I'll throw a couple extra ones in here. I know I'm really just kind of mixing it up here just for the heck of it. Yeah, we need to collapse these, include these under collapsible drop downs because it's just too extensive. I may be wrong though. Fire officers may be fine with that. I don't know. Lots of benchmarks just to see what's going on. Again, it's nighttime. 7-story high-rise. I'll do free cam just to check. Make sure the logo's good. Logo's good. Configure. Start scenario. Nighttime. You know, it's nighttime, so I think that the lighting for this, it feels like it's a moonlit night. I think we're good. I don't think there's any need to brighten it up. I like it just as is. Again, we probably want to make it so you can set points of origin of smoke on the rooftop, and then check your colliders on the end of the sidewalk to prevent people from getting hung up and getting frustrated during their simulations. So I'm just going to do a quick 360 here. Oh. So let's go to the roof just to see what's going on. All right. So I don't know what of these areas would be best to have the point of origin of smoke show up. I'll check with the fire officers on that. So pretty cool. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and reset. We'll keep the students. One thing I'm going to make note of here, I'll just go back to fire rescue just for the heck of it, is in multi-view mode, we want to check because for whatever reason, when I'm viewing one of the avatars for the other participants, this person's view shows only their helmet, their SCBA, and like their boots, lower extremities. For whatever reason, the torso is missing in this particular slot of one of the other avatars. So I'm not sure which one that is, but that's something that we definitely want to have addressed. The other thing too is just a reminder, since we're talking about on the screen, is I think we need to make this icon a little bit bigger on both this screen and on this screen. to be kind of more in keeping with what we've sized it up at in the insets. Only it's just a little too small to read the channel. Want to make it easier for the fire officers to be able to see what channel that they're on. As their default channel D for dispatch and or whatever other channel they switch to, right? What was it? 1, channel 2 in this instance. Just a little too small for my taste. And I've got glasses on right now, so. But I think that is about it. I don't believe I missed anything. Yep, we'll just keep hammering away. So that is pretty much it for now. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.